Hi, this session is a basic introduction to Kaggle. You're going to log into Kaggle, enter the Titanic competition, download some data, make an entry into that competition. It's going to be a very simple entry, but it's an entry nonetheless. And that's it, you'll be done. So let's get going. We are going to log on to Kaggle. You should have your login prepared already. Sign in. Okay, we're signed in. I have the Titanic competition recently viewed down there because I've been playing with it a little. But if you just type at the top Titanic, you should find your competition pretty quickly. And there you have it. The first page here describes what you have to do. As it says, the competition is very simple. You are given a list of passengers. For each passenger, you have some basic information about them, such as their gender, how many siblings they're traveling with, where did they board the Titanic, and you simply have to predict which passengers are going to survive and which won't survive. Can you predict that? Well, it's very simple. If you go to the data, you can see you're given two different data sets. The train data. On the train data, it's a list of passengers, and you're told whether those passengers survived or not, as well as their gender and all those other features that you're given. And you have to predict on the test data, where you're given the features, such as the gender and where they boarded, but you are not given whether they survived or not. Now, the first thing I'd like you to do is to download the data. When you click on download the data, it will probably ask you to accept the competition rules. And once you've done that, then save it in your Google Drive, which hopefully you've already got set up according to the instructions that were sent out before the course started. So projects, Titanic input, test and train CSV, and also save it in your Dropbox in exactly the same structure. So AML, Titanic, and under Titanic, you should have input, P code, P output as usual, but under the input with a small I, test CSV and train CSV. How do you know if you've done well on the competition? Well, the competition is scored according to a particular metric. The metric in this case is simply your score, as it says, is the percentage of passengers which you correctly predict. That metric is called accuracy. We will talk more about metrics in a future session. So let's get going. Navigate to notebooks and let's search notebooks. The one I've prepared is called O4A something or other. There you have it, O4A naive. I've just clicked on it. What you will need to do is go to the top. It won't say edit my copy. It will say something like make a copy of this notebook. So click on whatever it says and it's going to download that. Good, it's downloaded. Let's quickly go through the notebook. Import OS and import pandas as PD. I hope you're familiar with both of those. OS is to help you do operating system commands and pandas is for data manipulation. Let's just check what your current working directory is. So Kaggle gives you a working directory which is called Kaggle Working. Your data, though, is not stored in Kaggle Working. It's stored in Kaggle Input with a small I. So what we will do here to read the data is we'll use those two dots to navigate up one level in the directory structure, and then we'll go back down to Input and we'll read the data. We're storing the data as df_train. df stands for data frame. df train head 3 will show me the beginning of the data, the first 3 records. Passenger ID survived, that's because it's the training data. So they've told us whether each of these passengers survived. We have the passenger class, the name, the gender, the age, the number of siblings and spouse, I think. This is parents and children, the number of parents of children, the ticket number, the fare, the cabin, and where they embarked. Now, let's say we want to find out how many people survived. So df.train survived is survived or not for each passenger. Value counts will tell us the count of each of those. We can see 549 have a value of 0 because they didn't survive. 342 have a value of 1 because they did survive. So the majority of passengers did not survive. What is the mean? So we have over here df train survived mean. That is the average value there, which is going to be 342 over the total number of passengers, which is the survival rate. So 1 minus that is the rate that they didn't survive. So 61.6% didn't survive. If you wanted to look at the test data, we can just read it in the same way, and we can look at the head. You'll see you've got everything the same, but obviously you don't have the survived field. Now let's make our first entry. We are simply going to predict the majority class for every passenger. The majority didn't survive. Just having a look at this, we are creating a data frame. The first column in the data frame is going to be the passenger ID in the test data, and the second column is going to be survived. I'm only given Python 1 0 in here, but Python will recycle that 0 to create the column of the data frame. Let's have a look at that. There you have it, passenger ID and whether or not they survived. I'm going to export that to a CSV. Once I've done that, I can find the data at the top right hand side of my screen, hopefully in the output somewhere. There it is. I'm going to download it right now to my computer, and I'm going to stick it in the relevant directory within the Dropbox AML directory. So I'll be back in a second. You can see I've downloaded this CSV file, and I've stuck it in the right directory. So under AML Projects Titanic, I've stuck it under P output. The other thing that's worth doing now is to download this Python notebook. So you can do that, File, Download, and O4A naive Python notebook. That's downloaded. And once you have that there, stick it again in the right directory. So Control-C, Dropbox, and I'm going to stick it in Python code. Actually, I've already done that before, but that's where you should have it, under your Python code in your Dropbox. You should also have exactly the same structure in your Google Drive. So you should have it under Python code, you should have the notebook, and under P output, you should have the your predictions. Now that's done, let's navigate back to the main screen. Let's make a submission. So if you click on the leaderboard, you'll see that you can now submit your predictions. So over here, you're going to drag your file. I'll do that. There are my submissions. Bit of a mess going on here. I'm going to drag the file there. And I'm just going to write some sensible comment down there. It'll be useful for me later. So this is submission. This is, hang on a second, submission 1, naive, predict the majority class. So that is all we need to do. And now you can click on make submission. That's it, your submission has been made. Jump to your position on the leaderboard. Whoa, and we are position 210 something something something. That might be 210,000. You can see plenty of other people have made exactly the same naive submission as you just made. That's it. Well done. You have started your work on Kaggle. You've entered a competition. You've made a submission, albeit a very simple one. That's a great start. See you next time.